I'm in Hebrews right now for my daily devotion, and I just wanted to share a couple of verses that I read a few days ago in Hebrews chapter 4. Hebrews 4 verse 4 says this, "And God rested on the seventh day from all his works." And I think it's kind of our nature to think, why do people rest? Well, they rest because they are worn out, because they're tired. But obviously we know that God never slumbers, he never sleeps, he's never worn out, he's never tired. So why did God rest on the seventh day? And I think he rested as a model for us and our need. That there was a rest that needed to happen in our lives that he knew, and he knew he was going to have to be the one to show us what that rest would look like. I also think that's interesting that on the day prior, on the sixth day, is when God created man. And so God creates man, and then the next day he decides, you know what, I'm just going to rest. Even though him being sovereign God, knowing exactly what was going to happen, knowing that as Adam, or as God put Adam in the garden and gave him instructions on how to tend the garden, and then God creates out of Adam Eve, he knows exactly how this is going to go down, and yet he still chooses on the seventh day to rest. And I think this is such a good reminder to us that even while resting, that we can trust that God's hand is at work. It goes on in verse 9 of Hebrews 4, and it says this. It says, "There remains therefore a rest for the people of God." Now, the word rest there is the word Sabbath rest, and it's the only time that's actually used in the New Testament. And so he's referring to what he was talking about in Genesis, a Sabbath rest, a time where we would cease from work. And that this would be the seventh day that God modeled for us back in Genesis. You see, and I think so often we think of rest as being a reward, like we worked really hard and now we deserve this reward of rest. But the truth is that rest is actually part of the work. You see, the Bible tells us that we're the ones that sow, and we're the ones that water, and we're the ones that plant, but God's the only one that makes something grow. And sometimes it takes us resting. It takes us stepping back and trusting that God's hand is still at work, even when we cease to work. That actually rest itself is part of the work. It's God's work. And it's God's work he wants to do in us as he grows us in faith and trust in his sovereignty. So I just want to encourage you. I would encourage you, if you're somebody who looks at rest as for the weak, or if you look at rest as something that you have to earn, you don't, that you've been given it as a gift from God who loves you and knows that you need it, and also is asking you to step back sometimes and let him work. So God bless you.